When it comes to investing, like anything else in life, there are huge differences between people who are just getting started and people that have been doing it for years. So think about any sport that you have followed or grown up watching, and think about the difference between a professional in that sport and someone just playing down at the local park. And that is exactly the same when it comes to property investing, although for some reason, because people live in houses, they think that they're all professional investors, and therefore, because they live in a home and they know what housing looks like, they'll be competent to go out there and buy something. So in today's video, Simon and I wanted to talk a little bit about this concept of what makes a professional investor, what an amateur investor looks like, and the differences over time.
So let's kick it off with amateurs and some of the things that they tend to focus on or not focus on as opposed to professionals when they're first getting started. And I think the major thing is they don't necessarily educate themselves in the same way that professionals do.
It's a really good point, because I thought I was super educated when I was first getting started, and I realised I had no idea what the fuck I was looking at. Like, honestly, I was just reading blogs, I was watching videos, and I was kind of getting a feel for it, but I was looking at all of the wrong stuff, I now realise. So, in terms of, you going from wherever you are now, whether you're a pro or an amateur, because all of us are constantly learning, is, things like Core Logic's monthly videos are amazing, their emails, Heron Todd White's reports, Phil Anderson and Fred Harrison's books are fantastic, John Lindeman's books. In terms of podcasts, the On Property podcast is great, the Pumped On Property show, little tag for us, is great. The Property Couch has got some really cool content as well. So there's also some really cool blogs out there that people can get started on too. But I would prefer to consume less quality information than go really, really broad and just listen to all the noise.
Yeah, that's really important. Like, a pro really focuses on the other professionals. They listen to the right analysts. They listen to the right people in the industry that are extremely experienced. They've been through many cycles themselves. They've done a significant amount of investing. So they're listening to the right people, where the amateurs are the ones that are listening to the 60-minute articles or shows that are on a Sunday night. And they're listening to the mainstream media, which is just, as you said, noise that really doesn't mean anything. You really need to pull it back and pull it apart piece by piece from all of these professionals like you just mentioned.
Yeah, and get a nice cross-section. Like, professionals understand that it's important to get data from a range of sources and to get good opinions and bad opinions. Like, right now we're going through a period where property markets are going to be, I think, flat for the next 12 months, maybe 24 months in Australia. And there's some sentiment issues in Australia as well, which may mean some incredible buying opportunities, but amateurs may get caught in the next 12 months where professionals can do very, very well out of it.
Yeah, so these are the type of times where professionals are going to take advantage of the current market conditions, where the amateurs are going to sit on the fence and get scared.
Absolutely.
So next, I think, is the most important part of this little video, is a strategy or having a plan. So professionals will never, no matter what sport it is, boxing, swimming, any sport out there, any professional out there is going to have a plan and have a strategy and know exactly what they need to do. And when you've got a plan in place, it makes it a lot less, I guess, you just get a lot more confidence out of it, because you know what you need to be doing and exactly when you need to be doing it. But when you don't have a plan, when you don't understand a strategy that's going to work for you, it can be really hard and you can let your emotions take over.
For sure, man. Like, having a plan gives you an underlying confidence. It also means that you've kind of got blinders on and you're focused and you're missing out on a lot of that noise surrounding you. So a plan is as simple, for you and I, as maybe knowing what our immediate next step looks like, maybe knowing what the next 12 months looks like, and having a very loose idea of where we want to be in the future, which for you and I, financially and as investors, is pretty simple. Just replacing our current annual salaries and having a passive income for life.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess that moves into one of the things I mentioned there is the emotion. Once you've got that plan, once you've got the strategy, you take out so much emotion. Like, I'm in the market at the moment looking for a house for myself, and
what happened with that offer that you had last week? Have we got any feedback yet?
So I put an offer on a place, and this real estate agent just did not call me back. Like,
wow,
just
you
never
still
called
haven't
me
heard
back.
from him.
Nah, he ended up calling me or sending me a text message saying the other offer was accepted, and
So
I'm
that
like,
client from Melbourne did buy it.
yeah. So an owner-occupier that was moving up to Brisbane purchased that property, and
Damn.
I'm like, but he didn't even come to me and say, there's another offer on the line. It's higher than yours. Would you like to increase? And like, I was lowballing this guy. Like, I probably would have come up, maybe not to the price that it's sold for, but still, like, if that was your property,
I'd be so pissed. Like, there's this awesome book I read called Freakonomics, and they talk about exactly this, how most real estate agents are just lazy as, and they'll take the higher offer immediately in front of them, as opposed to doing what's right for the client. Simon may have paid an extra $5,000 and that person was prepared to pay, but they didn't even ask the question. So make sure if you're selling a property, you're always getting your agent to, you know, do the right thing by you and question what they're bringing to you and if they've got anything else on the table.
yeah, definitely. But back to the thing is, I wasn't emotional about that property. When he came back and said it sold to someone else, I'm like, cool, no worries. I'm going to get back out into the market and I'm going to wait for the next right property. And sometimes, you know, that one just may not have been right for me. So now it's time to get back to the drawing board where if he had have come back, an emotional buyer might have been like, oh, I really like that one. I really want to get it. What do I need to do? And the emotion comes out, and that's where you find lots of people might pay tens of thousands of dollars too much for a property. So that's just massive.
Yeah, like a good agent that's been in the industry for a long time, a good sales agent can see an amateur coming and they will use that emotion. They will use things like a fear of loss. They'll use things like scarcity. They'll tell you there are multiple offers on the table. Even if your price is right, they'll tell you that it's too low. And they will do everything they can to use your emotion as a human against you to jack up the price. So just being aware of that stuff is, you know, 80% of the battle. And just not letting your emotion, like giving yourself a moment before you talk with the agent, giving yourself a moment before you respond so that you can, you know, get back into your logical brain and make the best decision possible.
There's this book written, it's called Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion. Have you?
I haven't read it yet.
Oh, it's in our book cupboard.
Sounds awesome.
It is sick. It is really good. So I read that not too long ago, and it breaks down all of these psychological barriers that we have in our brain and the way that good negotiators and good salespeople and good agents use those against us. And it goes pretty broad into like mainstream media, and like even when people are shopping at the Christmas place,
really?
like big like Westfield and stuff, they'll market a certain product, and then people will be like, the kids will see it on TV and they're like, I want that, I want that, I want that. Like, ask Santa for it, and then when Santa doesn't get it for them because it's sold out, they end up going, where's my present? Like, I asked Santa for my present, and then the shops stock it massively after Christmas, knowing that the parents are just going to get sucked in and go back and buy it for their kid.
Oh, no way. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a cool book. I recommend going and reading it. It teaches you a lot about persuasion.
That's a dirty tactic.
Yeah, so that's huge. And another emotional thing that we definitely need to talk about is property marketers. You know, they come out in their nice suit with their flashy...
So a property marketer, just firstly, is basically 80% of brand new properties, whether it's a unit or a house and land package or a dual income package, are sold through what Simon just called property marketers. And they're effectively guys that are doing something for free for you. You walk into their office, beautiful, as Simon said, mad suits. They give you a beautiful brochure. All of the stuff that they send you is the highest quality. But what they're not telling you is that behind the scenes, from the builder to the developer, what do they get?
Like it varies, but you know, we've heard stories of 10, 20,000, but all the way up to $100,000 in kickbacks that they're receiving from either the developer or the builder or somebody like that.
So because they're working for them and not you, legally, you know, I don't think they've got your best interests at heart. Generally, that product is overpriced. Generally, from an amateur perspective, it looks really nice because it might save you some tax. It might be flashy and it might be brand new, but the reality is it's investor stock, not what we call as professionals investment grade stock, which is quality stock that you and your future family would live in or your family would live in, you know, in a beautiful suburb in the right area. So just be really, really aware of that. Don't get emotionally sucked in because it all feels good. You'll also know most marketers because they put very, very high pressure sales techniques on people. They're constantly following you up for the sale because the sale's worth 30 to 100k, or they don't have great business models, so they don't actually just have clients coming to them all the time as well. So they're very pushy and constantly trying to win your business.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're a pro, you educate yourself before, you have a plan, you have a strategy, you're not going to get sucked in by those kind of guys. So next, listen and learn from the pros.
Yeah, so professionals realise that they've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. A lot of amateurs, and we've written that down here as well, like I just said, they just talk a lot of shit. Like, don't you know someone that, you know, like my sister's a vegan, right?
Here we go.
Both sisters are vegans. I'm just thinking like, hey Kai, when she first became a vegan, all she did was fucking talk about it to all of us. And I was a vegetarian at the time, and I was telling everyone about that as well. Like, we both were on this bandwagon where we had to convert people. And now as she's become more comfortable, she's like a professional vegan. She's been a vegan for, 15 years almost?
Yeah.
Like, forever.
Maybe longer.
She just lives and leads by example. She listens, she learns. She's got friends who are activists that are right out there, like, that have massive impact. But she's just comfortable living her way. And I think, you know, same when some people start a new diet, or they start training, or they start a new job, or they're just starting their career, like, they're just talking so much crap about how much they know everything and, you know, their thoughts and everything. And it's like a professional from every, you know, very, very successful person that I've ever met, any like financially free person, any great sports person, any person that's really made it to like a good level in their space, they just listen and they ask really good questions, and they're constantly looking for ways to improve what they're doing. I was watching, sorry to interrupt, bro, the Williams sisters doco the other night. I was sick as a dog. I watched the Williams sisters doco. And I watched Magnus, who's like the Grand Chess Masters doco.
I need to watch this stuff.
And what I was watching, I was just like, these guys just don't talk. Like, they just get it, you know what I mean? Like, they just are constantly learning. Like, as Serena Williams and he said, they're like, we're not perfectionists, because that's a bad label. Like, that sounds horrible, but they're just like, we're obsessed with what we do and we just want to be better. Yeah,
that's really important. The pros want to be better. The amateurs just project all the little things that they think that they know, but they don't actually yet.
Yeah, or maybe they do, but it's like, you know, no one gives a fuck. Like, just do your thing, like, lead your life by example. Talk to people who love it, but, you know, just be aware. Like, when you actually get an opportunity to sit down with a pro, use that time to learn, listen, and grow, as opposed to just tell them everything that you already know.
Yeah, and that just leads really well into our next point that we wanted to talk about, is the team that you surround yourself with. So as an amateur, when you're an amateur, you should really start focusing on building that team of advisors around you, the people that you can listen to, the people that have been through it before, as Ben mentioned. You want to take all of their expertise and listen to everything that they have to say, so that you don't make the mistakes that they probably made when they were amateurs, and you can use them to your advantage.
Yeah, and obviously take everything from everyone with a grain of salt. Like, Simon and I both keep our team members accountable. We take personal responsibility and realise that at the end of the day, it's our decision, our money. They're just a support. But the more ideas you collect over time from different resources, the better your strategy can be, the better position you'll be in financially.
Yeah, definitely. Next one, what have you got there? I can't even read your writing anymore.
We talked about, you know, most professionals being a bit more conservative and also taking calculated risk and actions based on experiences, as opposed to amateurs, which I think can really rush into decisions like we talked about before.
Yeah, I think all of these things just make sense as we flow through them. Like, if you start from the top down, you're going to eliminate a lot of these things just by starting with educating yourself, planning and putting a strategy in place, getting that team of advisors around you and listening to what they have to say. And then from executing on all of those steps, you're going to minimize some of those risks that you might have, and you're not going to make an emotional out of character decision that could put you in a bad longer term financial situation.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think experience is the hardest thing to fake. You know, we can all learn, we can all grow, but people with actual runs on the board or the experiences are the ones that, you know, have gone through like the battles, they've gone through the good times, they've gone through the bad times, they've seen, you know, things that you can't see without experience. And so, you know, the sooner you build up those experiences wherever you're at, whether it's professional level or you're just getting started, I think that's super, super important.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Was there anything else that you wanted to add on those?
No, I think that's it. I think, like, congrats guys for watching this stuff. You know, Simon and I are working to be world's best in this space, and that's a journey and that takes time. Like, every day we're constantly growing and learning. If you're interested, please subscribe to this channel where we're putting out basically daily videos now. If you haven't already checked it out, check out the podcast as well, the Pumped on Property Show on Apple, or if you're on Android, check out Spotify. So thank you so much. If there's any videos you'd like us to do, please chuck it in the comment section below, and, you know, good luck with wherever you are.